an episode on girl talk. This is the side of the feminine, or the female side of bodybuilding. Lots of different little miniature topics that I think are really important to think about. And I'm feeling particularly girly today because I went and got my hair done. And I thought, you know what? When I'm feeling all fresh, I'm going to do this like little video on girl stuff. And I think, you know, as we've been getting into this pro prep series, Andrew and I have been speaking about loads of different topics and sharing this journey together, and it's really cool. And a big side of it for me, of course, is the things that I experience that I have done at different stages, contest prep, pre, post, during, that us ladies only really talk about sometimes when we're together, but we don't really get much of an opportunity to kind of share it. And as we've said in other videos before, you know, bodybuilding is a male dominant sport. And it is still quite unique for females to bodybuild in more of the more muscular classes. And it's still got a stereotype around it in some ways or another for some people. But there's lots of different areas of bodybuilding for a female that are just very unique. And isn't, you know, this sport is not for everyone. And it's for a real specific type of person to come into it and to do it. And I'm kind of rambling, but I think what I'm trying to say is that there's few women who stick at this and go through it all the way. And, you know, we see the rise in different classes now, the more bikini classes, wellness classes, these classes that can appeal to a larger range of women that perhaps don't want the harder, more muscular look of the more bodybuilding focused classes, your figure, your bodybuilding, physique, athletic classes that are coming in now as well. So I thought this is a really good opportunity just to chat about my journey in bodybuilding so far and some things that us women have to experience along the way. So why don't I start with the opinion of female bodybuilding and people's thoughts on why you do what you do. So when I started my journey, I had a total backlash of people, like friends too, of women and other ladies that saw me change my physique quite dramatically, and I was transforming my shape and everything was coming down and I was feeling really good, but suddenly came up against opinions where, you know, other women would be kind of almost pushing out their insecurities onto me. So, oh, you're losing weight too fast. Oh, you're looking quite like muscular. Are you sure this is what you want to look like? It's quite masculine. Are you really going to eat that now? Just that? Is that what you're going to eat? Or why are you eating the same things all the time? Or are you not? Oh, go on, Steff, just have this. This isn't going to bother you, you know, when you're at a social event or whatever else. And people just don't get it. And when they start to see things change, or see you looking good, or see you looking leaner or more shapely, or, you know, you get a comment from someone like your bum looks good, and then you can see somebody else looking over like a wee bit jealous, that is what you need to be ready for, because jealousy comes full fold. I've noticed that from other females. They might be your friends. I had a best friend, one of my closest friends at the time, so jealous of what I did. So jealous. Hated it, hated the attention that I got. Didn't enjoy the fact that this was an area of my life that I put a lot of focus into that perhaps she didn't. So, you know, I was having success in an area or doing something well in an area of my life that she wasn't really involved in, and she didn't like that. And so, you know, that came from a friend. And then, of course, strangers as well can have their opinions. I'll never forget a time I went to a cafe, and I went to the same cafe like every week for a coffee over my prep. And I was coming down and down and down and down in weight. And the waitress, obviously, who was serving me, she's there all the time. She's constantly serving me, constantly serving me, constantly serving me. And it got to like kind of 3 or 4 or 5 weeks out from my competition. And I could see her, she was like absolutely desperate to say something to me. And she said, I don't want to pry at all, but I just wanted to make sure you're all right, because I've noticed that you've lost a real lot of weight, and some of us in here were just a wee bit worried about, you know, is everything all right? And she obviously thought I had an eating disorder, or she obviously thought I had some sort of, you know, something serious going on, because she obviously felt like she needed to say that. And it was only really at that point where I realised that, you know, strangers have such an opinion on this kind of thing, as well as the people around you. And obviously I put her story straight and everything else. But be aware of this. This is something that females can be very catty about, opinionated about, judgmental about, and just be very, very wary of that, and don't let a lot of it filter in. It's other people really kind of lack of education and lack of knowledge and understanding as to why you do what you do, and a lot of it is their insecurities as well, to try and make you feel bad about what you're doing. So there's a few things going on there, and your mental strength during a prep is extraordinarily important. You need to stay true to why you're starting this whole process in the first place. You need to stay strong to the reasons why you're doing it, and try not to allow other things have a detrimental effect on your mindset. Try and filter out things that don't serve you, and keep strong to your cause, or to your, you know, to your journey as to why. And the people who really care about you, the people who want to see you do well, the people who genuinely care about the things that you're passionate and interested in, will support you with those goals and will check in with you on them. And sometimes they're the people you least expect as well. So be open to the fact that people who you really, really think will be there, they might not. And that was definitely in my case. But people who perhaps share common interests, of course, will start to be more supportive of your goals. And certainly, as you start your journey on this, get online, get talking to people who are doing preps as well, get mingling in the fitness industry with people who are like-minded. I've made some great friends. I've built some incredible relationships here. I have an amazing person by my side here, Andrew, who's just amazing in so many ways. I've met so many great people in this industry that we can talk shop, and sometimes they're great to help you when you're in a pretty hard point of your prep. So number one is people's perceptions, stereotype, and filtering out the crap and keeping zoned in and focused on your goal if you're deciding to compete. Female sort of rubbish number two, bodily changes. The female's body, girls, tits, periods. I'm just gonna literally go straight full frontal on this. Say goodbye to your boobs. This is the saddest part for me on prep. Now, you will not believe me when I say that before I started competing, I was like, well, before I even started my fat loss goals, before competing, I was sitting at like a 34 double D. A 34 double D. I'll actually try and find a picture and put it up right now on the screen for you, right? I was full bodied, big tits, amazing shape, right? Just like a woman, a normal woman. Then I went and did my fat loss goals, got really lean, and to be honest, I didn't really notice my boobs like reducing then. But as I've gone on through the years with my competing, you lose you lose weight from this area up here, and comment below, but this is my experience, it never really comes fully back the way they were before. So every prep I've done, I've gone down in weight, I've lost all the fat, and then when I come to putting it back on again, my boobs just never really quite sort of fill up the way they did before. They're never really quite as full, or I don't have as much fullness at the top as I used to, all of this. And certainly now, oh my gosh, now it's the first place to come off, very first place to come off, and I just lose all boobs very quickly. So it's shit. because it's something that makes you feel sexy, and it makes you feel good, and it makes you feel womanly, and you're really aware that of course you lose that. So it's more something to be aware of, and it's something to remember. And I think now I understand why a lot of women go, and women in the fitness industry who are perhaps competitors, who've been up and down in seasons, go and actually have their breasts enlarged or reconstructed or lifted or whatever, type of surgery that there is going, because there is something to be said for feeling like you want that back. And I mean, I'll even go out there and say, like, I've considered it, and certainly I considered it actually quite recently, because I thought, gosh, I've like literally just got nothing left and they're just not there. But I've also got the opinion, because I'm a natural competitor, that I don't want anything unnatural in my body whatsoever, and that includes implants or anything like that. I'm born with this is what I've got, and at the end of the day, I know that the reasons why I bodybuild is for muscularity and muscle, and the physique and the shape of the physique is what I'm really after. So things like boobs are kind of an add-on, and to me can actually throw a physique off balance if they are too big. If they're just, I've seen some competitors that they're just far, far too big, and it just throws a physique off completely. And actual fact, it deters away from the whole point of bodybuilding for me. It becomes more sexualized and beautified, which I know is an element to the sport, particularly maybe more so the aesthetic classes like bikini, etc. But for me, it's not about that. So I'm kind of a pure bodybuilder heart, in heart. I'm quite classical and traditional in that sense, that bodybuilding, the art of creating a muscular, toned, statuesque physique, is why I started the sport in the first place, and it's still the reason to this day why I do it. So boobs on a competitor is each to their own. And going back to the point I'm making about, this as being something that females experience, losing our boobs is one of them, and it's pretty crap. But hey, I quite like having a nice set of delts and pecs kind of work for me when I'm down. So yeah. Third, periods. Okay, so this is a biggie because it can have many facets, many different levels. I am currently on the Marina COIL, which is the rubber little coil that's onto your cervix, which is there for about 5 years. And that is a localized hormone, so the hormone stays where it needs to be. It doesn't travel around all the body. And I chose that specifically because I don't want any hormones circulating my system as much as I can physically help it. And I wanted the least amount of hormone in my body, and that was really the least amount I could possibly get, and I wanted to keep it local. So I've tried Cerazettes, I've tried microgynins, I've tried all of these pills, mini pills. You just don't even want to know me on one of those, because these things make me go mental, not to mention other side effects I've experienced with them. Now, the reasons, of course, the Reno works so well is it's there. Once it's there, you don't have to worry about taking anything at all, and it just does its job. So when I'm on that, I don't get periods anyway, so I don't experience the period stopping. I've got friends though, however, in the competing world who have experienced period stopping, and it happens at the later stages of prep when you're getting down to those sort of 14-15% marks. Sometimes it can be a little bit below that, but certainly the leaner you are, the more risk you are for period stopping. And it's the nature of the beast, ladies. This sport is an extreme sport. We don't, you're signing up to pushing your body to extreme levels where naturally a female doesn't want to go. We don't want to lose fat to the levels that are required for competitive bodybuilding. We don't want to be sitting at low levels of body fat, because effectively that stops our body's biological want to hold on to enough fat to be able to conceive, to actually bring little babies into this world. So your body's going to fight you it's going to be awful, and you're going to feel a huge fluctuation of hormones flying all over the place. And I've spoken to other girls about this before. Low moods, low self-esteem, erratic outbursts, feeling like you want to cry, feeling sometimes dizzy, a little bit, unbalanced. These are things that some girls can experience towards the latter stages of prep. And actually during prep itself, because you really are testing your body and testing your hormones and cortisol levels and your female functions. So when your body is fighting against you to lose fat, it throws like warning signs and signals at you. And that can come out in lots of different ways. It can come out in mood swings. It can come out in hunger pangs. It can come out in your body just like craving certain things. It can come out in anger. It can come out in a lot of distress, depression, anxiety. So these are things that, you can experience during your prep. And you have to remember, and actually I didn't realize this, but at the early stages of when I started this journey, remember when your time of the month is, and if you have erratic periods throughout your contest prep, remember roughly when it is each month. And sometimes you can tally up the reasons why you're feeling certain ways with that time of the month, even if you are having a period. I'm saying if you're having a period, obviously you're going to experience maybe some of those symptoms, but if your period starts to dissipate or become erratic or stop completely, you might still experience these symptoms and forget that that was when your period was meant to be. So what I'm trying to say is just be really aware, take a journal, write things down of when you're feeling certain ways, write down when your periods are, write down if they start to become erratic, write down if they're starting to spot, write down if they stop completely, because everyone's going to be different at different stages of prep for when and even if their periods stop. I know some girls don't stop at all, and you just have to deal with the periods throughout the whole entire prep. But certainly you need to be aware before you start competing that this is something you're about to put your body through, which goes against human nature for a female's body, if you want to take it to levels of being as lean as, say, somebody like I do. Because I know that when I'm at my leanest, my body ain't doing what's meant to be doing for a female, and you don't want to be in that space for too long. But there's no evidence to say that, obviously, that process will be detrimental unless, of course, you do prolong dieting and staying at levels, body fat levels of that low for too long. So there's many other things that factor in here that, I can't speak of experience because I can only speak from mine, but certainly drop some comments in the feedback below and I'll see if I can talk through any more concerns or questions you have about periods too. So, attitudes of people, tick. Boobs, tick. Periods, tick. Okay, females, oh my God, you look like a man. Who's had that one before? Or, what steroids are you taking? Anyone had that one before as well? So here's the third one. Be prepared for people to make critical and judgmental comments about your physique to your face, in messages, on socials. Be prepared, because girls, A, men can't handle a muscly chick, and B, females feel kind of threatened and a bit like psyched out by it. Some people are just dicks, so they'll say whatever they want to say as well. So what I'm saying is, be prepared. I have had everything under the sun. I've had people spread rumours around the gym that I'm taking steroids. I've had people come up to me and be like, you look like such a man. Like, why would you want to look like that? I've had other females sniggering behind my back. I've had it all. I'm pretty hardened. I'm a pretty tough cookie. Not much phases me. I've been through a hell of a lot. So, it's going to take a lot more than that to bother me about it. And certainly I think the only one that got a rise out of me was when a rumour was spread around the gym that I was taking a steroid or whatever else. And I got really pissed off at that, as you can imagine, because I'm very proud to be a natural competitor. So I did get a rise out of that one, which on reflection I probably should have just ignored, because, hey, it's a bit of a compliment if they think my physique is that good that I'd need some aid for it to be popping. But anyway, what I'm trying to say on this note is, Be resilient. If you're going to come into bodybuilding, you need to grow a backbone before you even start. This is not a sport for the faint-hearted. It's not a sport for people who are weak, in my opinion, mentally, physically as well, but mentally, really. It's a tough sport. It's a judgmental sport. Not everybody understands it outside of the bodybuilding world, and you're going to get some stick from people. You're just going to get some rude comments here and there of people who are uneducated, that don't know what they're talking about, that are going to say things just because, you know, they probably can't lift. Or just say things because, you know, that's of their mindset. For people starting out in their journey, water off a duck's back. You continue to focus on what you're doing. If it suits you and it suits your purpose and your goals, then go on. Go on and smash it and fuck them all. That's what I say. Because life's too short, and if you've got things you want to do, then just do them. Sometimes it's upsetting because you put a lot of hard work into what you do and you become really kind of passionate about it. And sometimes people can say things that can really make you question yourself, and you go away and you kind of think, oh my God, maybe they're right. And then this self-doubt starts creeping away and starts eating at you. Do not let that voice eat away at you. Self-doubt is the worst thing that can happen to anybody. And trust me, I've been there. And I've been at a really hard place over this last year with several things going on personally. And there have been so many opportunities where self-doubt could have completely and utterly made me crumble and stop everything that I'm passionate and I care about. You've got to remind yourself that people will say anything just because they can. But really, in the grand scheme of things, it means nothing. It means nothing at all, you know, and what one person thinks today will be completely different tomorrow. You've just got to take it with a pinch of salt. And I always try, and this is a great piece of advice, and somebody always used to say this to me as well, find the positive out of difficult situations. Even if it's so shit that you can't really find, like, anything, you're searching for something good out of it. Just the fact that you're even trying to find the positive is a really, really good thing. So try and find the positives out of every negative situation. You may come up across quite a few in your bodybuilding journey because it is a tough world, and we as females do get a lot of stick because it is a masculine sport. It's a masculine thing to do, to go into the gym and absolutely annihilate your body with weights and have this more masculine mentality of get at it and, you know, build this muscle and be dominant and strong. It is a powerful thing you're doing, and other women are very intimidated of that. A lot of women can be intimidated of that. So just be aware that, you know, what you're doing is not everyone's cup of tea. Take people's opinions with a pinch of salt. And if they tell you you're hench, well then go back into the changing room and be like, fuck yeah, they were threatened. I look good. I'm just being silly now. But yeah, you know where I'm at. So yeah, that's another one. The whole, you look like a man, she must be taking steroids to look like that, blah, blah, blah. Other female bits and pieces, let me think. Another one is obviously social events. So, you know, you need to remember that, guys, when you've assigned yourself to a competition diet and a competition, these things are going to become difficult. If you can't handle them when you're on prep, going to these social events, you know, outings with friends, going to restaurants, whatever else, just don't do it to yourself. Just tell people what you're doing and hopefully they'll respect that. And just keep yourself, you know, strong and tell them all that this is for a short duration of your life and you're just doing it for a goal. If you are strong enough, however, to go to these social events and take your Tupperware along or whatever else, then do it. Don't miss out on life just for a show. You know, you can still go to social events and still chat away to people and still enjoy people's company whilst you're dieting. You are the owner of your thoughts and you are the owner of your mind. So it's only you that's going to make this a really difficult situation for yourself. You know, putting yourself through hell like, oh, why can't I eat that? Or, oh my God, if I go to that, then I'm not going to be able to like enjoy myself because I'm on diet. That's you creating that in here. You know, Andrew and I went to Brewdog last night with friends of ours, also some guys that were doing some work with Fitness Training Scotland. And Andrew and I sat with them at Brewdog whilst they're having beers, whilst they're having some food. And we had black coffee and we had our Tupperware before we went out. Was it shit? A little bit, because you kind of look at their burgers and go, fuck me, why am I doing this crazy world? But at the same time, it was fine, because at the end of the day, we had a laugh. I got to know some people that I didn't know very well, and actually it got my mind going. I've got some ideas going on from that conversation I had as well, and it was good fun. And it just takes you out of it for a while. So social events, don't just block them off completely. Remember, other people will still want to know you, still want to see what you're doing, and you can manage that if you just manage this. So keep strong and keep mentally positive. What else? I mean, generically, and this will be for both females and males, prep's going to get really tough at points, and you're going to find it really challenging. You're going to have points where you break down and you think, why am I doing all of this? You're going to have points where you're hungry as hell and all you want to do is just like grab like the nearest ton of food next to you, and you're just going to be fighting yourself to eat. As you become more experienced in bodybuilding, so as your journey goes on, you become better managing these things. See, when it was my first year, I remember one time super vividly, so vividly. I was in my kitchen and I'd come home from work. I had had like 4 rice cakes that afternoon, because that was like my mid-afternoon meal or whatever else, with some chicken or whatever else it was. And I remember the sensation of how hungry I was that day. Now, it was towards the latter end of my prep. It was the first prep I'd ever done. I'd never really felt like that before. And I was miserable. I remember actually sitting next to the fridge on the floor. This is so embarrassing, but like having a fucking breakdown, meltdown with myself. Like that I was so desperate to go into the fridge to eat. And I was crying. I think I even did a voice note on my phone, which was like, oh, my life's so rubbish. Oh my gosh, like it was awful. I remember feeling depleted and lacking energy and like demotivated and just depressed, and it was absolutely horrendous. And these times are going to be had. Now, I'm quite glad to say that I haven't had any more quite as extreme meltdowns as that. But, and certainly now I know how to manage those things. In actual fact, I don't really feel like that anymore, because I assign myself to the process and I'm a lot more experienced, and I know my goal and I know what I want to look like, so I know what it takes. So I'm okay with the hunger. I'm okay with, you know, the little things where you get cravings and stuff. But, yeah, things are going to get hard. And little demons can creep up as well. Little, if you're prone to any anxiety or depression, it can exacerbate that. It can exacerbate difficulties in your life. This is why we talk about, when you decide to do a show, you want to try and make sure most things in your life are balanced. Your personal life is balanced. You know, there's not too many stresses and strains going on, because what you're about to do is extraordinarily challenging on your mindset and on your body. So ideally, you want to be in a really good balanced place before you start. Now, that's not always the case, and sometimes things can happen during preps. But be aware that by being so rigid and so routine with a bodybuilding diet and with training and with just generally the approach to this entire thing, any like additional things that you maybe struggle with mentally will be exacerbated. I've had those experiences myself where, you know, things have been tough and I've been trying to manage my mental health through difficult times. And obviously routine and strict dieting doesn't help that sometimes. So you really need to be ready for knowing that some of these things could become worse in a competition diet if you haven't got a good control on your mental health. And mental health is something I'm extraordinarily passionate about, and I'm going to do a separate video on this. If for those of you who are interested, I'm involved with Mental Health Muscle. Go on Instagram and check them out, Mental Health Muscle. It is an incredible organisation which is promoting the vehicle of fitness and being in the gym as a way to actively help you rebuild your mental strength and your mental health and combat issues that you might be facing by really getting under the weights and getting motivated in a healthy and fit environment. So that's something I'm really passionate about. So I'm hoping some of these things will resonate with you. Don't suffer, bitches. Don't suffer, fools. Allow everybody to their opinion, but don't let it filter in. Say goodbye to your lady lumps for a while. And unfortunately, periods, girls, you're going to have ups and downs with those, and they may well stop. Know that this is an extreme sport. You are a man, you take steroids. What? Nah. Just ignore all of that. It's not about them. This is your journey. Know why you're doing it. Stay true to yourself. And then social events. Just don't forget that people want to know you. Don't hide yourself off. Try and find a good positive way of thinking about those social events to allow you to enjoy them. What else? Generally, you're a bodybuilder, woman. So if you are bodybuilding, if you're a bikini athlete, if you are getting up on stage to flex, know that this is a small percentage of us there's a small percentage of us that do this. So remember that. This is niche. This is very unique. It's not something everybody does. So be proud of that, because this is awesome what we do. And it's when you get up there and you've done all the hard work and you've achieved what you set out to achieve, yeah, it's really exciting process to be part of. So comment below, give me some ideas on what you think about what I've said today, and I'll continue to give you some more updates just one-on-one like this. This will be the ladies' go-to. So Pro Prep Steff signing out, and I'll try and coerce Andrew to do one for the boys. Cheers, guys.